Hello, my stamping friends. This is Renee Novak at blessedbycards.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, and I'm here today with a Make It Monday tutorial. Today I'm going to share with you some things to do with the Wild Roses background stamp. Now we're going to use the Stamparatus today, and if you watched my previous video last Monday on tips and tricks of using the Stamparatus, you'll see that I'm going to show you a more in-depth way of using one of those tips. So if you missed that video, I'll link it in the description below. So let's get started. So like I said, we're going to use the Stamparatus today. And one of the tips that I gave you before was I took a sheet of our grid paper and I laminated it. I cut it to fit the Stamparatus and I laminated it. And I'm going to use that today because the background stamp is quite big. And so it's very difficult to use the magnets. And so what I've found is if I just make a little mark on my grid paper, then I can position my paper, my cardstock, right there on that, and I'll have it in the same position every time without having to use the magnet. Okay, so I typically, when on a large background, cut my cardstock a lot larger than I want, and then I'll cut it down after I have stamped on it. And today I'm going to share with you how we're going to take this background stamp. We're going to use some Versamark ink and some embossing powder, and we're going to do a little stamp resist. So the first thing you're going to do is position your large stamp. In this case, ours is the Wild Roses background stamp, and you're going to ink it up with Versamark, and you want to make sure that it gets nice and saucy, and you'll see that it gets bright, kind of a wet look, and that's what you want. And you want to get it over your entire piece, and then you want to stamp down, and you want to rub very gently all over your background stamp so that you get a nice coverage. And then you're going to pick it up, and it will be sticky, and I'm sure you cannot see it on here, but you'll be able to see it in when you do it yourself. And you're going to sprinkle your embossing powder all over this, and then you're going to use the heat tool, and you're going to emboss it. And I'm not going to do that on video because it takes a little bit of time, but I am going to show you two pieces that I have done. Now, one of them I embossed with the black embossing powder, and the other one I embossed with a white embossing powder. And each one is going to give you a unique look. Let me show you what I mean. This card was created using the white embossed, and I took a sponge dauber and I took some rich raspberry and just rubbed it over, and as you see, it does not adhere to the embossed image, it resists it. And this was created with the white embossing powder and the rich raspberry. So let me share with you my other sample. And this is with the black also. Now this is what it'll look like before you put color on it. And then when you use the sponge dauber, you're going to ink it up in your ink pad. And in this case, I am going to use Night of Navy. And I'm going to use the white embossed. And so you just want to rub, and as you see, as I'm doing that, it is resisting where it has been embossed, and it is picking up the color on the white cardstock that has not been embossed with the embossing powder. Now I like to use the sponge daubers because I can come back in and get it darker and darker and darker depending on the color that you want. And so you'll basically just go over the whole thing. If you want a really light look, just do a light touch and go all over the whole entire thing. And as I said, if you like a darker look, then just come back in to whatever area you want dark and apply more ink. And you can keep applying until it gets the darkness that you want. So there you have it. This is Night of Navy on the white embossed. And so you can continue to keep doing this all over your entire piece. And now you will go ahead and grab a piece of cardstock of your choice. I chose Night of Navy. And then we're going to take the Night of Navy, and we're going to take the Label Me Fancy punch, and we're just going to punch out that. And then we're going to bring back in our Night of Navy and sauce that up. I'm using the Thanks from Simply Succulents. And I'm just stamping that straight down. And then because this is a lighter image and the white is very stark with this, I'm going to bring in my dauber again and add some ink just around the edge. I'm just applying a little bit of ink. I'm coming up a little bit on the card itself, daubing just the edges. You can make it as light or dark as you want. You can come back in with more on the edges with a heavier flick, and that will give you a darker edge. Okay, so now we're just going to put that all together. Just going to put a little snail down. I'm going to apply that right on top of here. And let's put this down right on top. And there you have a very simple, easy card using the Wild Roses background. Let's go ahead and do one with the black. And as you can see, I did a lot of different colors, and it really does change the look of your card. So play around with it and see what you get. But I really like this dark blue, and I also like the Mango Melody, which is what we're going to do for this one. So for on this black one, I'm going to again take my ink and a sponge dauber, and I'm going to sauce that sponge dauber up, and I'm going to go ahead and apply that ink down. And as you can see, the firmer that you push, the darker the color. I really do love this look. I don't use Mango Melody very often, but I love it with this black contrast. So we're just going to continue to apply some ink. I'm just using a circular motion. And you just want to do that all over your entire card. Okay, and there we have full coverage. So again, we're going to take, let's take the same punch and the same greeting from Simply Succulent, and we're just going to stamp that right down around the edge with the Mango Melody. And this time we're going to put it directly on a piece of Mango Melody. For this one, I think we'll use the Stampin' Dimensionals, and we'll just pop that up. So I'm going to put one on here and one on this edge. Okay, and then we'll just peel those off and stick that right down there, and there you have that card. So if we were to adhere this one onto our Mango Melody, what a different look you would get just by changing up the colors. And there you have it, another Make It Monday tutorial. You have the black resist and we have the white resist. So I hope you enjoyed this Make It Monday tutorial. Give me a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any other tutorials. Join me again next week for another Make It Monday tutorial. Thanks for watching. Until then, be blessed.